Good evening. I'm Glen Straightman, and welcome, dads, to tonight's episode of Dad Alert. Moms, please leave the room now. Drugs. The world of recreational drug use is an ever-changing landscape most dads can't begin to understand, but your children know it all too well. Is your son or daughter using drugs? Yes. And tonight, we're focusing on the most dangerous drug there is, marijuana. Teens and college-age youngsters have been using marijuana for decades now. Injecting, smoking, and ingesting edible marijuana are familiar methods kids have used to get high. But tonight on Dad Alert, we bring you a scintillating expose on a new method of marijuana use which has been rapidly growing in popularity amongst our nation's young people. Its effects are more potent and, after prolonged use, almost always fatal. Stay tuned, dads, as we delve into the dark and seedy world of rectal snorting.
This is the home of Louis Boucher, a handsome dad with a sad story to tell.
Yeah, basically, Jeremy was a good kid, you know. He got B's and C's, liked to go fishing with his old man, spent a lot of time in the bathroom. Typical boy. When Jeremy started spending more time away from home, I figured it was just out doing teen stuff, you know, like lifting weights, bow hunting for pheasant, or something like that. I never imagined he was at his girlfriend's house snorting marijuana up his butthole.
But bow hunting for pheasant he was not, and snorting marijuana up his butthole he was. When was the last time you saw your son?
My son's been missing for 6 years, all right? He could have overdosed, maybe died. He's probably dead. When I lost contact with Jeremy, I started to get in touch with other dads who lost their children, okay? And when I realized how many dads thought they were going through this experience alone, I started Madar.
Madar?
Yeah, Mad Dads Against Rectal Huffing.
Madar has helped many dads whose children have become addicted to rectally snorting marijuana. But what happens to these weed-addicted youngsters? Dad Alert sat down with a weed addict and found out.
They call me lucky because I'm lucky to be alive. I've OD'd on pot so many times from huffing pot up my butt into my asshole.
What's your Christian name, Lucky?
I'm so high I don't even fucking remember.
My God. And you're a recreational...
Butt huffer?
A butt huffer?
Yeah, that's what we like to be called.
And when was the last time you overdosed on weed, Lucky?
3 times this morning.
Mere hours before our interview.
Hell yeah!
And that doesn't make you want to consider quitting.
What, you want to live forever?
So this is marijuana?
Yeah, this is ass grass. It almost kills you every time you huff it up your butt.
And teenagers are using this?
Every day.
Lucky, you're so young and so troubled. Will you please let us send you to weed rehab?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Lucky, please!
Our interview with Lucky was illuminating and terrifying. But now, Dad Alert needed answers that Lucky couldn't provide. We needed an expert in the teen and college-aged youngster experience. So Dad Alert turned once again to Daryl Dugan, our nation's foremost high school guidance counselor.
I mean, most dads don't understand how deep this butt-huffing rabbit hole goes, but as our nation's foremost guidance counselor, I am smack dab in the middle of that world, and I am looking into that hole. And I have to tell you, it is a deep, deep, dark hole.
How dangerous is marijuana?
Are we talking in terms of addictive properties? In terms of loss of life? I mean, to be honest, it's the most dangerous drug there is. In some counties on the Indiana-Ohio border, we're losing 3, sometimes 4 children a week.
How bad is this problem on a national scale? About how many youngsters would you estimate are huffing marijuana into their buttholes?
You know, I'm really glad you asked that question, but I don't have to estimate. So this graph here, the green area, represents the number of children between the ages of 6 and 21 who engage in rectal huffing of marijuana. The blue area, that represents those who don't.
I'm confused. I just don't understand. There doesn't appear to be any blue on this graph.
Exactly. Every single child between the ages of 6 and 21 is huffing marijuana up their butts on a daily basis.
That's even worse than we expected.
As a dad, I want to help you find out more about this. You know, I think I'm going to direct you to a former student of mine who huffs daily.
Daryl Dugan had really helped us see the gravity of this problem. Now, we're on our way to a local police station where Scooter, a 17-year-old former student of his, waits to speak to us about how butt huffing has affected his young, fragile life.
As my former associate, Mr. Dugan, told you, I am Scooter. I'm a 17-year-old youngster. I'm interested in skateboarding activities, the films of Adam Sandler, and I am addicted to colorectal inhalants, primarily cannabinoids, but also other narcotics, and I butt huff multiple times a day, Broseph.
Scooter, I'm struck by how young you are.
That is affirmative. As I stated previously, I am a 17-year-old boy.
There's certainly no debating that. How did this start?
Well, as is typical for a Caucasian pubescent male in the Midwestern United States, I began experimenting with illicit drug use with some of my homeboys in my peer group when I was 12 years old, between 6th and 7th grade, and I'd appreciate it if you eased up off my back about it, because my crew is tough and we will cut you.
That's a tragedy.
Butt huffing is an epidemic.
Are there any signs that dads can look out for, Scooter? Signs that their sons or daughters may be rectally huffing marijuana?
Well, that is an excellent question, bitch, and I'm happy to answer it. According to a recent study by the National Coalition for a Drug-Free America, there are several behaviors which they've deemed as red flag behaviors, which could be an indicator for dads across America that their son or daughter is experimenting with butt huffing marijuana. Among these behaviors, chief among them, are satanic ritual or an interest in devil worship.
Mother of God.
Or perhaps most pointedly, there is a marked decrease in interest in spending time with their parents.
Dads are parents.
Now, if your son or daughter were exhibiting any or all of these behaviors, there is a 90 to 100% chance that they are experimenting with colorectal inhalants on a daily basis.
You're a deeply troubled young man, Scooter. Dad Alert would like to send you to a weed rehab clinic. Will you go? Please, Scooter. Just think about your dad.
Certainly. Yeah, yes.
Thankfully, Scooter agreed to go to a top-secret rehab facility in Quantico, Virginia, and has made a complete recovery. Many young people, however, aren't so lucky. In this case, Lucky wasn't so lucky. Lucky's luck ran out on October 31st, 2018, when she rectally snorted 1.5 pounds of a highly potent form of street marijuana known as hydrochrome. Our sincerest sympathies, hopes, and prayers go out to her dad.
When Dad Alert received the news that Lucky had passed away, we decided to dig deeper into the case. Through a series of phone calls, we were able to track down her personal weed dealer, a gentleman known only to us as Dr. Biznasty, who agreed to speak to us under the condition of anonymity.
Woo! I'm high as a kite, my friend. Can I get you anything? Beer, water, ass grass, crack rock, whatever you want. The doctor's in session.
No, thank you.
Suit yourself, my friend.
So, Dr. Biznasty, you say. How did you get into the rectal snorting game?
Well, it's funny you should mention Dr. Biznasty, because that nickname, it's not just a nickname. I actually was a practicing doctor for many years up in Utica. As a matter of fact, I learned through my medical expertise that human beings can be trained to breathe through their anus, just like dolphins do.
Is that a fact?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I was the first person to teach all the kids how to huff that weed up their rectum and into their bum bum. It's all about core strength. You gotta do a lot of kegels, a lot of sit-ups, a lot of squats. But once you get there, you can huff that greasy chiba up your butt all day long.
And did you ever sell to a woman named Lucky?
Oh, Lucky. Yeah, absolutely. That dirty old broad. She's one of my best customers. Hey, what's that creepy skank up to these days anyhow? Say, mister, you don't look so good. Are you sure you don't need to do a line of ass grass with Dr. Biznasty?
Doctor, would you be interested in selling me some weed?
Selling you some marijuana? Absolutely, my friend. I'm sorry, I had you pegged for a square. How much marijuana would you like me to sell you?
Just enough to constitute a felony, please.
Absolutely. Here's 35 grams of primo ass grass. Now show me them dead presidents, bud.
Well, Doctor, it seems you've met your match. On behalf of Lucky, Jeremy Boucher, Madar, bereaved dads everywhere, and everyone down at Dad Alert, I hereby sentence you to jail for the crime of weed.
Dang it!
Dad Alert was cleaning up the streets, but I still felt there was work to be done. Among Dr. Biznasty's personal effects, I found a ledger which contained a last known address for one Jeremy Boucher. With the help of Dad Alert's private team of highly skilled bounty hunters, we tracked him down. Mr. Boucher, thank you for visiting with us today.
This is Mr. Daryl Dugan, our nation's foremost high school guidance counselor.
Nice to meet you.
You know, it's a pleasure, Mr. Boucher. Now, I understand your son Jeremy disappeared some years ago as a result of recreational butt huffing.
That's correct.
You know, as a high school guidance counselor, I hear these things every day. I am in that hole. I am staring down into that hole. And I know just how deep that hole goes.
Have you ever heard of a man named Dr. Biznasty?
No.
He's a drug dealer and a butt pusher, and I hauled him downtown just last week. We're gonna keep him off the streets. In his personal effects, I found the names and records of multiple former clients, including forwarding addresses, pager numbers, fax numbers, and cell phone numbers. Among the records was your son's name.
My son.
Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Jeremy?
Jeremy.
Jeremy?
Jeremy.
Your son.
My son?
Come on out, Jeremy.
I'm so sorry, Dad. I huffed up so much weed on my butt as a youngster that I forgot who I was. Luckily, Glen Straightman, Daryl Dugan, and the Dad Alert team found me and put me straight. I got my GED and I'm going to culinary school in the fall.
Jeremy,
Jeremy.
I love you, son.
Love you, Dad.
Case closed. It took some time, but I'm happy to report that Jeremy and his dad have rebuilt their relationship, and Jeremy is now the executive chef of a 5-star restaurant. But Lucky is dead, and like her, many teenagers in this country rectally snort weed until their hearts stop every day. If you suspect your son or daughter might be rectally snorting marijuana into their butthole, I assure you, they are. If your teen tells you they aren't rectally snorting weed, they're lying to you. I'm Glen Straightman reporting for Dad Alert. God bless you, dads, and God bless America.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
Quiet on the set.